So before we get into the recipe, I needed to talk to you about the rice that we're going to be using. So there are two species of cultivated rice in the world. One is Oryzia sativa, which is Asian varieties of rice. And then a lesser known one is Oryzia glaberrima, which is indigenous to Western Africa. So here I have three different types of rices. We have ofada rice, red rice, and then gomba rice. These rices there's thousands, hundreds of varieties from West Africa, but these are the ones that I have. I bought two of them from an African store, different African stores. So this is what they look like. This is the gomba rice. It is short and fat. And then the next one is the red rice. I did get it in Ghana, but I also purchased a bigger bag here. I really like how it cooks, and it's a lot more starchy. And then ofada rice is actually fermented, so it has this really interesting smell. I wouldn't suggest it for a new beginner, but it's usually eaten with a Nigerian sauce called ayamashi. So this is three of many types of indigenous rices. So for this day, I decided to cook a combination of the gomba rice, the red rice, and some white jasmine rice. So I'm using this is about half a cup. So I have about a cup of the gomba rice, and then I'm going to be using about half a cup of the red rice. I didn't use as much because I don't have much with me. And then I mixed in some white jasmine rice just because I wanted something that's a lot more starchy. Before I cooked it, I washed it. And you need to wash these very well because there's a lot of dirt. It looks like the water is cloudy, but also the rice is red. So once you keep agitating it, it's going to change the color of the water, but you want to make sure to wash it enough it becomes less foamy and the water is pretty much still. I actually blended mine a little bit just so that it is more of a broken rice consistency, and then I proceeded to cook my rice. So I cooked this just like how you would cook regular brown rice. I did 1 part rice, 2 parts water, and then I salted it and basically cooked it like how I would generally cook rice. So I covered it, let the water come to a boil. Once it was at a boil, I lowered the temperature, and then I let it cook for about half an hour at low temperature. You do not want to touch it, and then keep the cover on, turn it off, then fluff out the rice. So that is the rice. It more than triples in size, and I cook this once a week, put it in the fridge, and it's a great way to add like complex carbs to any of your foods and something more healthful in your diets. So now that the rice is done, I'm gonna put it in a Tupperware and let it cool down, and then we'll move on to the main recipe. So for the fried rice, I start off with air frying some tofu. This is just to add some more protein and more texture. This is firm tofu that I've squeezed out the water. I will be air frying this at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20 minutes till they're nice and crispy. And whilst the tofu is air frying, I'm just going to be chopping up my vegetables. The vegetables for fried rice changes all the time. I just use what I have in my fridge. So today we have carrots, spinach, green bell pepper, green onions, ginger, garlic, and onions. I just start by chopping up my carrots. I usually get baby carrots. They're just a lot easier to manage, and then move on to all my other vegetables. I will usually chop these, put them in a colander, and then I will wash them all together before I move on to cooking my fried rice. If you're looking for a written recipe, I have one that is very similar on my blog. I will link that in the description box below, but I made a few adjustments just for this. That recipe uses white rice, and I did use a little bit more oil, but this time I'm trying to show more healthier alternatives that still are amazing with flavors. I reduced the oil, kept about the same ingredients, and then I will be using indigenous rice instead of white rice for this recipe. I decided to use Just Egg as an egg replacer. I've been loving cooking with the liquid Just Egg as it's now available in major grocery stores in Canada. So before I even start cooking my fried rice, I make sure to scramble about a cup of the Just Egg. It is a little harder to scramble, but trust me, it is absolutely delicious. I had to hold myself back from not snacking on these. So once the egg is scrambled, I move on to basically frying everything up. So I heated a little bit of oil and then start cooking out my aromatics. So some onions, ginger, and garlic, sauteing that till they're all nice and soft. I also added the white parts of the green spring onions, and then I also cooked everything together. So once my onions are cooked, everything is nice and soft, I add in all of my vegetables. Even the spinach. Yes, I know the spinach will wilt. So after I had washed it, I pour everything in and saute it and let it cook till the peppers and the carrots start to soften up. This takes about 5 minutes. And I know this is not traditional fried rice. You know, traditional fried rice, everything is being cooked at high heat. It's really quick. It's not that many vegetables. But again, we're trying to pack in as much vegetables and nutrients and diversity into our plate. So I let everything cook, let the water evaporate from the vegetables, added in a little bit of soy sauce and some vegetarian stir fry sauce. They're not required. The soy sauce alone is perfect enough. And then I also added some curry powder. It gives a really nice yellow color, and I really like that. And that's how my mom makes fried rice. So I just went with that whole process. I also added in my tofu once all of the spices and flavoring had been incorporated, and then I mixed all of that together. So once all of that is nice and combined, I moved on to add my rice. So I had this rice in the fridge for about a week. I made this before Christmas, and then I went to visit my parents, and it was still in the fridge and it was still fine. So I was like, this is such a great way to use up the rest of the rice. So I just stir fried everything, mixed it all together, basically incorporated it, make sure that there's enough salt in there, not going too heavy with the soy sauce. We want to keep our sodium low. And this was such a delicious way to just use up the rice, and just reheating it just to extend its shelf life in the fridge. This gave me about maybe 4 to 5 servings, and it was packed with a ton of vegetables, lots of protein, and it was delicious. It was really simple to make, honestly. And it's incredibly adjustable. Like every time I make fried rice, I use different types of vegetables, just depending on what I have in the fridge. And then the last thing to do was to add in my egg and mix everything together. So that is pretty much the fried rice. It is delicious. It's perfect for meal prep. You get a lot of your complex carbs, a lot of vegetables, some plant-based protein. And I had this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, depending on the day. You can eat it at any time. And then I also had it with some shito, which is a Ghanaian hot sauce. So this is me enjoying this for breakfast. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I will be releasing more of these types of videos weekly, so make sure to subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell, give this video a like, and subscribe to my channel for more, and I will see you in next week's video. Bye!